quick tutorial on how to create whiteboard animation videos quickly on Simple Scribe. I'll show you exactly how I generate animation videos and create characters fast. Now, the easiest or one of the ways you can do it is to just draw your characters live on the screen and then animate them later. Depending on what software you're using, you could create them in SVG and then put them into an SVG animator. So I'm using Simple Scribe, which is a software that I authored here. So with Simple Scribe, it's very easy to create these whiteboard animation videos. You just click on draw, and anything you draw on the screen now will later be animated as a drawing block. So for example, I could say I'm going to draw a simple face, right? And as soon as I stop that, I can play that back, and there you go. This is the quickest way to create your animated videos. Now, if you can draw, this is excellent. If you can create your own characters, brilliant. But if you can't draw, then you may want to just trace the images. Now, how do you generate high quality doodle style looking images? Let me first delete this block here. Well, you could just import them, find them online or import them. But because I'm using Simple Scribe, I can just simply go to insert online graphics and then just type in something that I want. So for example, in this case, I'm going to look for a goofy looking librarian. Yeah, I think that will do for now. So after typing in the words that I want, I click generate image. Now, if I had other images already in the project, like if I generated other characters, I could have some consistency in my characters by referencing those previously drawn characters. So I'll click generate, and then I'll wait for the AI to return the image. So it looks like AI is done generating the image, and there you go. There I have him, my goofy looking librarian. And because of the system prompt, sorry about that, my updater just ran, but because of the system prompt, which says simple line drawing, color, book style, whiteboard animation video, which is always there for me. So no matter what I type into the optional prompt there, it will always run through the first prompt, which tells the AI how to do it. Now, obviously, I could use this image as is if you wanted. Like, it is a good image and you could use it as is, but AI sometimes makes mistakes. It crops out images, does things you don't want. But the most unfortunate thing is to generate such high quality images such as this one. AI does them as it only does the format as bitmap images, raster images rather, I should say, which means that they can't trace backwards. They can only fade in. These are like real images. In order for it to draw, I'll have to trace the image. And so yeah, you could do that now. So what I'll do is trace over the image. I'll show you how I do it first of all. So here I am on the image itself. I will just, I have two options. I could either bring the whole track opacity down, which in this case I won't. Since there's an opacity on the image itself, I could just click on that and click away. And then maybe zoom into a level that is easy for me to start drawing from. Like here is perfect. And then I will basically click on draw. Let me just increase the width to about 5. Let me test this out first of all. No, it's too thick. I'll go down to a 3. Right. Yep. And then I will now hide the top panel so I can get a good view. And I'll basically just begin to trace in the parts where the AI hasn't actually generated stuff, like the hair up there. I will then have to make up myself, or the shoe down there to make up myself. But for the most part, even if you don't know how to draw, tracing is quite easy. So I will begin tracing, and then I will just fast forward to when I finish so that you guys don't have to watch me trace the whole thing, okay? So while I was tracing here, I realized I could actually give you guys some tips and pointers. I can always undo strokes by just using the undo button, see if I do them wrong or incorrect. I can, use different widths to make the lines, the finer lines, like in there's a bit of glare in his glasses, which I can use a smaller width to make the glare in his glasses. And then for other things, I could use a thicker stroke if I need to. In fact, I could actually change my stroke to a more artistic stroke. So if I go to calligraphy brush, probably want to make this one as small as possible because it does have a little taper to it. So this one looks like this. And you can mix and match whichever sort of stroke you prefer. And for circles, you could either use a circle stroke, which creates perfect circles, or you can use line strokes if you're drawing straight lines. But you know what? I'm pretty happy just carrying on with the normal brush for now until I finish, and then I'll get back to you guys, and then we can do some coloring in as well after. So here's a quick update of how it's going so far. So I've done the major outlines now. I just want to do the thinner details inside the drawing, which would be things like the pages, which require a smaller line. Now this is nowhere near to a perfect trace or something that I would use in a production video, but it's just a way to kind of just show you guys what you can do potentially with this. And if you were working on like a production level video, you might want to take your time out to really trace these images. Now, of course, you can find images that have been traced or drawn already out in our in Simple Scribe library, or you can save these as reusable tracings or drawings as well for other projects. So it doesn't have to be a one-time deal. So it's worth investing in some of the drawings so that you can keep and reuse them, or if you want, you can make them public for the people to use them as well. So yeah, this is where I'm at with this drawing. So we just have to be careful, because once I finalize the drawing, I can't edit it. I can't edit the video because the drawing, because I've done it here in the actual video editor. However, if I was working in the dedicated drawing component of Simple Scribe, I would be able to edit, and I'll go into that in another video on how to actually go to the dedicated drawing section. But here I think this will do, and then I'll start adding color in just a second. So what I'll do is I'll click on stop. There's our image, and if I want to, I'll bring this down to another track, the bottom track, and I will just hide the first track so that we don't see it at all. And then I just want to see how that plays back. Now I just want to increase the drawing time, because it's going to draw this pretty fast, because it's just a few seconds. As you can see, the first dash here tells you where the drawing ends. So if I press play, it draws it back pretty quickly. But I do want it to take a bit more time than that, so I'll just increase the entrance animation, which is a drawing, and it should draw it a little more likely to my pace. Okay, so there we go. And see the mixed brushes, the details put in there. And of course, next thing I want to do is add in the color. Now there's several ways you could add in color. You could just add the color in as a stroke, or you could add the color in as a fill by drawing an outline for the stroke. And I'll show you quickly both techniques in just a sec. So if I want to draw the drawings, I'll start the coloring after the drawings finish. So I'll just do it on the track below, so that the color goes underneath the outlines. So if I go to draw, create a new drawing, and I'll show you the first way is to just use a stroke. So if I take the stroke and say I want to give him so let's go for his hair color, which is going to be a brown. Reduce the opacity straight away, and I could just literally go in there and begin to create the stroke just by drawing in. It's probably best to use a bigger, much thicker stroke outline, but since I've started here with a very thin one, it will have to do. And if you want the drawing to look more realistic, you might want to do more than one stroke instead of the way I've done it here as a single stroke. And if you reduce the opacity and you draw the level of depth for the color will get deeper the more you go over it. As you can see, so that's a rough way of doing it, but it actually draws better. So let me stop that so you can see what it looks like. So that block there, if I just, it actually colors it in more realistically that as it would look. But I could also just draw something with a color inside it. For example, his trousers. I'm going to do this as a fill stroke instead. So I'll say after this is done, on the next track, we will use a one stroke, and we'll give him, let's say we'll give him some blue trousers. We'll do it as a fill. Okay, so now what I can do is just literally outline this stroke here, and it will fill it in for me. Bad idea to use a brown stroke here, because then you can see it. But there you go. So it creates like a shape with a fill coloring in there, which in some cases looks more solid. And then if we play it back, we can see, there we go. he's got blue trousers and some brown hair. And this is literally the quickest way to create your animation videos, and you can mix that up with just raw drawings as well. So I could have like a think bubble or a speech bubble, and well, in this case, you know, I'm still using the same old. So let's actually undo that, because I want this to be black and I want this to be like a 3, and I don't want a fill. So I'll take that out and we'll give him a speech bubble. We could say something like, actually, let's make this more interesting. So we'll say, let's go back. We'll say hi. Perhaps the last one should be red, the exclamation mark, and give it a red outline too. So it will be hi, exclamation mark. And that's how you create whiteboard animation videos. So now to just put everything together and see what we've done so far. Like I said, you know, there's a whole library of pre-drawn drawings. You can save this as a drawing if you want to keep it and use it next time as well. Or you could just import things. So in this case, if I wanted to, I could go to insert. Some of my assets will be drawings that I've already made in the past, animations and things like that, like this parrot, for example. I could just import that in and it will draw it from scratch. Okay, so I think I'll end the video right here. There is a lot to cover, and I'll probably be breaking down more and more tips on how to create whiteboard animation videos, how to create other videos, because SimpleScribe is more than just about animation videos. It's about other types of videos as well. But you know, this is a tip on, I give tips on video creation in general, regardless of what software you use, but I tend to use the software that I created because I created it to fill a specific gap in video creation. And then I would love to hear from you, feedback if you've tried it. If you've never heard of SimpleScribe, just go to www.simplescribe.net, create an account, and begin creating videos like this straight away. Okay.